how to handle returns and exchanges as a print-on-demand seller from outside the US. That's what we'll cover in today's video. We'll cover how to set up your shipping settings so you only target the markets you want to target. We'll cover how to actually handle a returns and exchange policy in practice. And we'll also cover how to treat defect items with Printify. Let's get into it. Why offer a returns and exchange policy? Well, we have to have some sort of returns and exchange policy in our store. It could be set to either no returns and exchanges, or we can accept a returns and exchanges within a certain time frame. I only sell to the US, which gives me the advantage of being able to choose this. But for instance, if I would sell within the EU, where I live, we actually here have a 14-day right of withdrawal, which means that as a customer, the customer has to be able to send back the item for a refund within 14 days of delivery. So to make my life easier, I've chosen to only focus on the biggest market, which is the US, and it's also the less hurdles to get over if I only focus on that market. So I only focus on the US, and I definitely recommend to focus on the US to alleviate headaches that could come with selling internationally. Now, how do we even set this up? Well, to set it up, we basically have to go into Etsy here, and then we head to the shipping to settings, and then we head to shipping settings, and then we create a shipping profile. So for instance, I only operate within the US. This means that, for instance, if I use Monster Digital, they are operating within the US, and then I usually just search for Monster Digital. This is their own website, and then we can just scroll down. We have Miami here. So Florida, I just take this, I put that here. For processing time, I usually always do a custom range, and then I take 1 to 5 with them because they are super quick, but sometimes there can be lag if it's in the holidays. So it's always good to have some kind of buffer time. But the lower this is, the better it is. Now, here's the thing. If we only want to target specific countries, we make sure that only those are selected here. So I don't want to target Sweden. I don't want to target everywhere else. I only want to target the US. So within my shipping profile here, I only have the US selected. So then if I, for instance, choose the US-based first class, and then I take fixed price, we can charge whatever we want for shipping. I've done both of these. Both of these work if the offer is good. But let's take, for instance, roughly $5. And then let's take, for instance, maybe a little less than that, maybe like $4, sorry. So this is basically approximately $5 and approximately $4. Monster Digital, maybe. But basically, if we only want to target the US market, we just gotta make sure that we only have the US in our shipping profiles. That's how we basically make sure that we only target a specific market. All right, so brief pause. If you found some value in this video, please like the video and subscribe to the channel, as it helps to grow my channel to reach other people and to help as many people as I can. Now, how do we actually handle returns in practice? So when things are sent back to the supplier, if there's any issues or if there's any, for instance, issues with the shipping address, it usually always has a return address that is being sent to, which is the Printify default. So let's say that a customer has received an item, then they want to return the item itself. Then you can just provide them with Printify's return address, which is the default address, and then they can actually return the item to that address. I usually always ask for a proof so that it's kind of a deterrent that they actually have to return it. They can't just receive a refund. I ask for a proof of a return. Once I get the proof, I just make the refund. A good point to that too is that I always make sure to cancel the order so that if there's any unhappy customers, we can alleviate negative reviews. It's a great way to alleviate that. But yeah, the easiest way to just handle returns is just to use Printify's default address. And when things actually get returned to the address, it gets donated. Now, to handle exchanges, the easiest way to handle exchanges is to just have the customer pay a small fee to make sure that you're breaking even on the whole sale. So let's, for instance, head to the Aldora Etsy calculator here. Let's then count on a, let's take a sweatshirt that we've always used in my examples. Let's take Monster. 30.91 plus 8.49, 22.4. Okay, so let's say that we, for instance, have our sweatshirts at $36. Then we make about a $10 profit. So what we can do here is that we can just make sure that we go minus $10 at most. So we want to still give them a good offer to make sense of the exchange. So what we can do here is that we can make a fee basically that the customer can pay. So it's a separate listing that the customer can pay and to actually get the exchange. So to make this easy to think about, and we've earned $10, we can go $10 minus, because then we're breaking even. So if we, for instance, do $22, then we're $2. You go $15. Yeah. So what we can do here is that we can offer a sweatshirt that usually costs $36 for $15. What this does, it gives a good deal for the customer. They don't have to return it. They can keep the sweatshirt actually, and they can just get a new one for a really discounted price. So it's a great way to provide good customer service, but it also makes sure that we're not breaking even or losing money on any exchanges. So what we can do here basically is just set up a separate listing called custom listing or something like that, and then we only send this out upon when stuff like this happens. So then we can just make sure that it's only used when we actually want to, and we send it out to the customer when exchanges happens. So making a custom listing for the customer that has then a $15 cost instead of a $36 cost makes it super easy for them to just handle exchanges. They usually appreciate the whole ordeal. Now, to handle defect prints, that's usually super easy with Printify. All we have to do is that we have to ask for a picture from the customer that fully shows the print. Once we have that and we send that to Printify, it's usually super easy to just get a refund or replacement when it's obviously a production fault. However, if we have, for instance, made a mistake, then of course they will not cover that, because if we, for instance, make a black print on a black shirt or a black sweatshirt, that won't really translate well. So in those cases, when it's our fault, we have to stand by it. But in cases where a print provider has made a mistake, it's super easy to just show them the picture, and then they will just refund you or send a replacement to the customer, whichever they prefer. So whenever a customer reaches out and they say that there is an issue with the print, I always say, I'm so sorry that you received it like this. To better assist you, can you please send me a picture where the print is clearly showing? And then they usually send that. And then before I reply to any more messages, I make sure to head to Printify. I talk to them. I ask if I can get a resolution for this specific customer and for this specific order. If that's green and in the clear, I head back to the customer and apologetically say, I'm so sorry, we're a small family-run business, and sometimes mistakes happen. Would you like a refund or a replacement? And then once I know that, I head back to Printify, I talk to them, I ask for the resolution. Once I have the resolution from Printify, I then just refund or send a reprint to the customer. Now, if it's a defect product, this doesn't happen very often, but sometimes, for instance, if a sweatshirt is a bit too off when it comes to sizing, then it's actually a defect product itself. So sometimes the sweatshirt itself can be a bit too small in width or a bit too small in height. And there's actually if we head here into the Gildan 18000 again, we have a size chart at the end of the page here. The measurements can vary by up to 2 inches. After 2 inches in change, then it's actually a product defect and we can get it sorted. So in cases where people say that it's too small, it doesn't make sense with a size chart, for instance, they might say that small is 18 inches. What we can do in those instances is that we can just ask the customer to lay the sweatshirt on the bed, have them take a tape measure and measure it side from side and then from top to bottom, so we can see what it actually is in inches, and then take a picture of that. If the tape measure is lining up with what they say, then they usually get a replacement or a refund. Super easy thing to do again, because we just reach out to Printify once we have the picture with the tape measure, and then if it's above 2 inches or at least 2 inches, then we usually get a refund or replacement, and then we can just talk to the customer again, see what they want, either a replacement or a refund. It's a super easy way to go about business when it comes to handling defect products. Now, a big caveat to this is that sometimes we make mistakes. We all make mistakes when it comes to this stuff. We might, for instance, put the wrong design on the wrong products, and in those cases, it's of course not the print provider's fault, then it's our fault. And I just either make a reprint or give the customer a refund. So in those cases where I make my own mistakes, I just take them as my own, and then I provide the resolution on me. Because in those cases, it's obviously not the print provider's fault, and of course we're not going to get refunds for those. Sometimes, however, Printify can be courteous and give us like a one-time courtesy for something like that. But in all fairness, if it's on us, it's on us. So we should, in my opinion, we should take it on us and just learn from it and then move on. Alright, so that covers how to handle returns and exchanges as a print-on-demand seller from outside the US. I hope this video gave you some value. If anything feels unclear or so, just drop a comment down below and I'll do my best to help out. I'll see you in the next one.